Hello everyone, I am Professor Amit Vyas, Computer IT Department from Dr. Subhash Technical Campus. Today, we are discuss about GSM and GPRS for the unit number 3 and we are covered today topics of the multiplexing techniques. So, what is the GSM and GPRS? And we have show how can you use in the real-time application for the GSM and GPRS, and how can you useful in the world for the communication system using GPRS. So now we are discuss multiplexing techniques. In multiplexing, is divided into three types of techniques. First is frequency division, multiple access, space division, multiple access, and time division, multiple access. So, this is the three techniques which are used in GSM modulation. So now we are discuss frequency division, multiple access. It means FDMA. It is one most common multiplexing procedure. FDMA is a channel access is technique we can found in the multiple access protocol as a generalization protocol. In FDMA, permit the individual allocation of the single or multiple frequency band or channel to the user. So what is the FDMA is provided? FDMA is provided the frequency band or channel band for the particular protocol based frequency. So we can show that this is the frequency based modulation. You can show that this is the frequency, and based on the time and power, the frequency is divided. So the frequency is depend upon time and the power. So we can show that FDMA permits multiple users to simultaneously access the transmission system. In FDMA, every user share the frequency channel or satellite transponder simultaneously. Every user transmits the single frequency. FDMA is compatible with both the digital and analog system. FDMA is demand high frequency filter to the radio hardware, contacting CDMA and TDMA. So what is the FDMA? FDMA will be permit the multiple user to simultaneously access the transmission system. Also, frequency you can share the frequency channel based on the satellite or transponder. So you have shared the frequency or share the particular band for the any frequency band. So now FDMA is avoid of the timing issue in the existing TDMA. As a result of frequency filtering, FDMA is not upon the near field problems within existing CDMA. All the user is transmit and receive the different frequency because of every receiver have an individual frequency slot. So one disadvantage is crosstalk. We have discussed about what is the crosstalk in the unit number 2. So crosstalk, which can cause the interference between frequency and interrupt of the transmission. So what is the crosstalk? It is a interference between frequency and interrupt transmission. So this is the frequency division multiple access for the multiple techniques. Now we are discuss space division multiple access. In SDMA, utilize the spatial separation of the user in the order to optimize use of the frequency spectrum. A primitive from the SDMA is when the same frequency is reused in the different cell in the cellular wireless network. In the gradient of power, each user is controlled by the space division multiple access. So what is the SDMA? SDMA is utilized the special separate user for the optimization frequency spectrum. So this is the main use for the different wireless access network. Also SDMA is used the cellular wireless network for the different frequency band. So this is the main use. SDMA is a server the different user by using the slot beam of antenna. This area may be shown by the same frequency or different frequency. We can show that. So this is the different frequency. You can show that here. This is the one space antenna you can use for the frequency receiver and directly communicate. However, the limited co-channel interference, it is required the cells are sufficiently separated. This limit the number of cells we can rejoin can be divided into limited frequency reused factor. When the different area we can cover by the antenna, the frequency are reused, in which case TDMA or CDMA is employed. For the different frequency, FDMA can be used. So what is the space? In space division, we are used also be different frequency for the satellite communication, and you have received for the based on the satellite for the cellular wireless network. So in use of the frequency channel, you have received some signal for the space for the direct communication. So this is the SDMA, which utilize the special separate user in the order of optimized frequency spectrum. This spectrum is used for gradient of power for each user is controlled by the space division multiple access. So this is one frequency band. It is used for the satellite communication. A more advanced approach further increase the capacity of the network. These techniques would be enable the frequency reuse within the cell. In practical cellular environment, it is important to have just one transmitter fall within a receiver beam width. So you have one transmitter and you have divided the frequency. Then you have received particular frequency for the signal for the any time base or beam base. It means this is one networks, your frequency, and your signal is spread in the particular frequency band, and you have received the frequency reused for particular frequency. So we can say that here in practical cellular environment, it is important to have just one transmitter fall within a receiver beam width. Therefore, it becomes the impracticable to use the other multiple access techniques in conjunction within a SDMA. So this is the importance. You have used the SDMA for the different slot or beam of antenna, and this area may be served the same frequency or different frequency. So this is the importance. You have used this frequency, and this. You have transmit the signal and you have received particular beam. So this is the importance. So SDMA is a different user. You using the slot beam of antenna, and the antenna may be served the different same frequency or different frequency. So in the antenna is divided into different frequency. Then this frequency you directly communicate or transmit the data or signal. So this is the different frequency. So space utilization or space division multiplexing is mostly used for the any direct communication. So now this is the space division multiple access. Now we can show the time division multiple access. So the time division multiple access. It is a multiplexing techniques where multiple channels are multiplexed over the time. In TDMA, server user we can share the same frequency channel or higher bandwidth by dividing the signal into the different time slot. So what is the TDMA used? Mostly the same frequency channel or higher bandwidth is divided into the signal into the different time slot. So the frequency you can divide it into the different time slot. User is transmit their data using their own respective time slot in the rapid succession. To the synchronize, the transmitter and receiver need to synchronize using global clock. So you have checked TDMA user you can share the same frequency channel or higher bandwidth by dividing the signal into the different time slot. So this is the importance that you have divided the time based frequency or bandwidth and the different time slot, and you have transmit the data and receive the data particular frequency or time slot. So it is divided. So TDMA is divided into two types: fixed TDMA and dynamic TDMA. We can check that. So what is the fixed TDMA? In this connection, the between the time slot in each frame and data stream is assigned to the user remaining static and switch only where large variation in the traffic is required. In the variant, the slot size are fixed. It means the time is second and number of user. The slot size is fixed for the TDMA. So what is the fixed TDMA? The number of slot you can fix that and transmit the data. So it is the TDMA. So this is the image of time division multiplexing. This is one time slot. You have checked that. This is the channel 1. You have divided into the time. This is the time slot and the particular based on the frequency. And what is the dynamic TDMA? In this, the scheduling algorithm is used of the dynamic reverse a variable number of time slot in the each frame to the variable bits rate in the data stream. So in the reservation algorithm is based on the traffic demand of the each data stream. So in the dynamic, you have checked that the various data bits is used in the bit rate and data bit rate per stream. So this is the dynamic. So this is the time division multiplexing. Now we can show that this is the what is the FDMA, frequency division multiplexing. The frequency is allocated in the single or multiple frequency band and channel we can use. So you have frequencies divided in the particular slot. Frequency is used for the every channel and satellite transporter or simultaneously used. Every transmitter is a single frequency. So data you can transmit it. So frequency is divided. Now space division. So you have divided. You can show that this is the frequency band. You have divided particular space for the particular frequency. So you have transmit any signal in particular space, then frequency is occupied. The frequency size or frequency bandwidth is not compulsory you have same, but you can easy to access for any particular frequency in time frequency division. So this is one frequency band. So the space division, this is the frequency space. You have divided the different number of frequency band or same frequency band. So this is the importance. This your space you transmit your signal, and this space you have divided the different frequency module. So you can transmit the data for particular frequency band. Now this is the time division multiple access. So what is the time base? In TDMA, you can use the same frequency channel or high frequency bandwidth by divide the signal into the different time slot. So in same, we can check that here. This is the low frequency time slot, or this is the high frequency time slot. So you have transmit the data based on the time slot or frequency band. So you have divide the data or signal in the based on the time slot. If the small transmitter or time slot, you have divide the channel 1. Then next, the channel 2 is a high time slot or frequency band. So this is the time slot for particular channel, the data transmitter and data receiver. So this is the importance. TDMA is used to share the same frequency channel or high bandwidth by dividing into the signal into the different frequency slot. So this is the divided. You have also be divided based on the time slot. It means the channel 1 is a small time slot and channel 2 is a high time slot. So this is the main. Also we can check that the fixed TDMA and dynamic TDMA. Also you have divide the channel 1. It means the channel time slot is a fix, or channel 2 time slot is a fix. Otherwise you have not compulsory, you have checked the dynamically. It means the channel 3 or channel 4, if the channel 3 is a static or fixed time division, it means you have 25 MB the data you have sent, and channel 4 you have dynamic. If the any number of data after 25 you have sent the particular time slot. So this is the importance. Also we can divide also in the fixed TDMA, in the time division multiplexing and dynamic TDMA. So this is the importance of the time division multiplexing and frequency division multiplexing. So dynamic is also important. We can show that. Then now next we can show the code division multiple access. This is one remaining. The short for the code division multiple access, the digital cellular technology can be used to spread the spectrum techniques. It is the broadband system. So what is the CDMA? It means a digital cellular technology can be used and spread the spectrum techniques in the broadband system. So in the CDMA, mostly use the broadband techniques in the spectrum. So if any networks you have connect, for example in your Vodafone Idea, any broadband connection, you have used the spectrum for particular communication, and spectrum which is used and divide particular frequency in the particular zone. CDMA use the spread spectrum techniques where the each subscriber use the whole system bandwidth. So CDMA mostly used subscriber user his whole system in the bandwidth. So CDMA mostly used on the bandwidth base. So what is the code division multiple access? So in the time and frequency and code, the each channel or frequency, each frequency and times is divided based on the code. You have divide in the code 1, 2, 3 and number of channel and the data you have changed, sent or particular code based system. Unlike the computing system, such the GSM use the TDMA and a CDMA, it does not assign the specific frequency to each user. Every channel use the full available spectrum. So individual conservation are encoded within a pseudo-random digital sequence. So GSM is not used for TDMA and CDMA, does not assign the specific frequency to the user. So if you have not particular TDMA and CDMA is not assigned the GSM module frequency. In CDMA, the consistently provide the better capacity for the voice and data communication than other commutable mobile technology, allowing more than subscriber to be connected at any given time, and it is a common platform which is the 3G technology can bleed. So mostly in 3G technology we can bleed for the CDMA. For example, CDMA is a military technology. First we can use the World War II in the English Alliance to be fueled in the German attempt the jamming transmission. So code technology is mostly used in the military technology first time in the World War II. So this is the CDMA techniques which are used in the cellular networks. So now, unlike the FDMA or TDMA, where the frequency or time slot is assigned executively subscriber, in the CDMA, all the subscriber in the cell is used the same frequency bandwidth simultaneously. To be separate, the signal of the each subscriber is assigned or the orthogonal code. It is called the chip. So to the separate signal, each subscriber is assigned particular chip code for particular CDMA. So this is the frequency based and time based multiplexing techniques which are so we can show all the FDMA, TDMA, SDMA and CDMA, all the techniques. Now we can show the difference of GSM and CDMA IS95. So what is the GSM and CDMA IS95 difference? Mostly frequency. You have used the 900 megahertz frequency, and you can show that this is all the frequency range 8000 and 90000 1900 megahertz frequency. Then channel bandwidth you have so the total 25 megahertz bandwidth and maximum up to 2000 with the 200 kilohertz per second. We can show the 12 megahertz with 1.25 megahertz CDMA. Then after we can show also channel 8 time slot per channel width and also be used the spread spectrum. Voice coder you can say that frequency is hopping for the 13 bits per second, and we can show that here the 18 bits per second or 13 kbps. The data bit rate is 9.6. Here also be 9.6. The SMS is you can send the 116 character for the text supporter, and we can say that CDMA is a 120. SIM card is yes and CDMA is no. Multiple path you can show that causal interference and destruction. You can use of the advantage. The interference radio frequency is used for the TDMA, and you can show this is the CDMA. End of you can show the hard. It is the soft. Is the fixed and limited system capacity. Is a flexible and higher than GSM techniques of the CDMA IS95. So this is the difference of the CDMA and GSM IS95. So this is all the frequency. Now we can refer the quickly all the modulation. So we can show the also GSM and GPRS for the multiple techniques which are available. Now we can show the frequency division multiplexing FDMA. So what is the FDMA? You can show frequency is individual allocation, single frequency also, or multiple frequency band also, or channel you can use. So frequency is also be used in the based on the channel. So frequency you can also be divided in the time slot. So frequency division is demand the high efficient filter into the radio hardware. Also, all the user is transmit and receive at the different frequency because of every user can be received the individual frequency slot. So in the frequency, the signal you have divided the different frequency module. That time you have received the different frequency and the transmitter and receiver, and you have used for the analog and digital signal. Then after space division multiple access, you have used the SDMA serve different user by using the slot beam of the antenna. This area may be served the same frequency or different frequency. So what is the space division? This is the one area of the space, or you have divided into the space for particular frequency band. So this frequency band is also be same or the different for particular area. So in this area you have used this particular frequency and transmit the signal directly for the space division. So in the space antenna you can directly use or the particular frequency and transmit the signal. So this is the mostly used. So in the particular size or beam you have area which are covered the space division, and in this frequency by using to transmit the signal and receive the signal. So this is the one cellular importance techniques. Now in the time division. So in the time division, which is a multiple access, multiple channel are multiplied over the time. So in the time division, you have divide. You can show that you have divide the particular time slot. So in the channel 1, 2, 3 for any time base. Also you have divide the time in the fixed TDMA or dynamic TDMA. In fixed TDMA, you have received particular signal for the any channel. So you have saw that if the channel 1 you have fixed, this is the particular time or small time you have calculate or fix. This is the 20 kb's time or 25 mb's time you have fixed, and this signal you have received or data you have received. Also you have fixed or particular size. This is the size of the frequency. So in the time slot you have divided into the based on the frequency also. In the channel 2 you have used the dynamically. If the signal is higher than any bandwidth you have received, and also based on the time, also you have divided in the particular receiving signal in particular time zone. If the signal is suppose you have divided the particular size based on the signal. If the 0 to 10 is a channel 1, or 10 to 20 channel 2, 20 to 30 channel 3. So also this all the channel is you have divided into the fixed base or dynamical base. So this is the importance for the time frequency or code or a TDMA. Now we can show the code division multiple access. So what is the CDMA? Also CDMA is a techniques which is subscriber user hold the system of the bandwidth. So code division, you have divided the base on the code for particular time base in the channel. So in the TDMA, in the CDMA, mostly code division multiplexing, you have divide, you have available the full spectrum, but individual you have divided into the code base frequency. So every channel use the full available spectrum and individual conservation, and you can encode it the pseudo random digital sequence. So this is the CDMA is used for the 3G technology. Now we can show that this is the GSM and CDMA comparison. You can show this is the bandwidth and the voice, then what is the data rate, what is the SIM card, then what is the system capacity, and all the interference you have saw that. So this is the GSM CDMA techniques you have used. So this is the all the multiplexer you can show that. So thank you all of you.